kind of a special, not kind of, definitely a special Road to a Million call. So, Katie, where were we the last couple days? From Thursday to Sunday in Arizona,
No, we had to go
Montana,
somewhere that was freezing cold, not as cold as
Montana,
no.
Montana. Oh, not Montana. Okay, so not Montana, not Arizona. Where were we?
We were in the state of Washington.
Very nice. What were we doing in Washington? Besides
We
being cold.
attended a blue collar summit. It was an event for service-based companies,
Okay.
and you spoke at it as a keynote speaker, sharing our story and providing value to their community.
How did that happen? Who let me on stage? Why would they do that? That's the question.
Relationships.
That that is true. That is so true. Yeah. So if anyone wants to know why, like truth of the matter is like I don't know. I don't know like I don't know if I provided any value outside of telling a good story. Um, but the only reason I was even on that stage is because of a relationship that I had built a year ago. And I actually went to this conference a year ago just as an attendee because the guy who was putting it on, his name is Mike Andes. His he was getting coaching from the same person that Katie and I were getting coaching from, which was a guy named Dr. Trevor Cashier. And so Dr. Cashier went to this event and he asked me to come to it because he's like, there's probably a lot of things that you can probably get from him, although he is not in the cleaning business. He's in the landscape industry. He's doing it at a very high level. And so Mike Andes was the guy who put this thing on. He's the one who asked me to speak. And if you guys are unfamiliar with Mike Andes, it's totally fair because most of you guys aren't in the landscaping industry. But Mike Andes owns a franchise, and not just like he owns a franchise, he owns the franchise. Like he has franchisors, and he actually has 170 franchisors that pay him money, right? Because like your system is so good, I will give you money. Um, and he's 29 years old. He's he's a very intelligent human being, and he's also like very hardworking guy. And probably most importantly, he actually cares so much. Like you can just like see it every little bit of element in his body just wants to give and wants to serve. And when you combine that work ethic with raw intelligence, and when I say raw intelligence, Katie, you learned this weekend, but when did Mike Andes graduate high school?
13. 1 3.
And when did he graduate college?
I don't remember that one.
18.
18.
18. Yeah, as a pre-med student. And he went to Africa for 6 weeks and practiced medicine over there at 18 years old. And so when you combine someone who has like raw intelligence with huge work ethic with the desire to want to help people at a very high level, you get a Mike Andes, right? And so he puts on this event every single year. And this year he actually changed it from a landscape summit to a blue collar summit, which was inclusive of all home service-based businesses, and not just landscape. And so that was the reason that he asked me to speak at it, was because it just wasn't a landscape conference. He needed to give value to the people who were not just landscapers. And I showed up last year and got to know him, got to meet him, and Kitty and I have also done a little bit of coaching with him. We gave that person money, right? We gave him money and said, teach us some things that will help us grow our business. And he's actually been very instrumental in how we structure our business model, how we structure our GMs, how we're continuing to structure the growth of each location. He's been very instrumental in that because, like truth be told, Kid and I talked about this all weekend. We're like, landscape business is very challenging. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of external elements that get in the way of you growing a business. Cleaning, there's not any external elements. You don't have to buy a truck. You don't have to have $50,000 in the bank just to start a business. Okay. Every time that you want to scale, you don't have to buy a truck and a trailer and a mower and all these other things in order to scale. What do you need to scale in a cleaning business, Katie?
Vacuums.
For less than $500, you can be in business. Congratulations, right? Now, why doesn't everybody have million-dollar businesses? Okay, why isn't everyone just rich then? If it's so dang easy, why isn't everybody rich in the cleaning business?
Because you have to find somebody to push that dang vacuum around.
Yeah, you got to find someone to push it around. That's right. That's right. And so there's different challenges in this business, and those are something that we'll talk about a little bit today. Um, but at the end of the day, okay, let me ask you guys this: how many of you guys work hard? Raise your hand if you guys work hard. Raise them up. Come on, be proud. Be proud. Cool. Awesome. All right. Keep your hands up. Thank you, Norma. Look at that. Norma. She put her hands up. I like it. Keep your hands up if you have $1 million business. Keep them up. Keep them up. Keep them up if you have $1 million business. If you put your hand down, you're working hard on the wrong things. And it's one of the easiest problems to fix. Does anyone know how to solve that problem?
We'd sure like to know.
Put in the chat. This is where you guys get to participate. You guys get to play today. You get to get value from this. You get to participate. You have a chat full of human beings. Oh my gosh. You guys are all humans in here today. Yay. Right? Participate with your fellow human beings, your fellow cleaning business owners, your fellow entrepreneurs, your fellow people who want to grow something. Right? How do you solve this problem? How do you solve the problem of working hard on the right things? Yes, some of you guys are close. Some of you guys are close. This is part of the presentation that I gave in Seattle, and this is like the juice. This is what I want to give you guys, okay? You get a relationship with someone who has achieved what you want. Write that down, put it in the notes, do something. It's the simplest way. You fix the problem of working hard on the wrong things by getting a relationship with someone who has done what you want to do. And if we want to put like a little bonus in here, like, and if you want to find somebody who can really help you get what you want, find someone who's helped other people, who are other humans like yourself, get the same result as you want as well. If you do those two things combined, that's your human. That's who you want to learn from. Okay? That's your sensei. That's your Yoda. Okay? Now, the next question is, how do you get a relationship with that person? Put in the chat. How do you get a relationship with a person who has done what you want, who has helped other people have done what you want? How do you get a relationship with that person? Because that's the key. You need the relationship. The relationship is the key. Yeah, say what up, homie. How do you get a relationship with somebody who's achieved what you want? This, my friends, write this down. I'm telling you what, this is like the biggest nugget I gave to all those people at that event. If you want to get a relationship with a successful person, the person who has your dreams, they've already accomplished them, they have them in their pocket, how you get a relationship with that person is you help them reach their goals. You help them reach their goals. Which brings another question. How do I help them reach their goals? How do you help successfully reach their goals? There's two ways. Way number one, you work for them. You work in their company. You build their asset. That's the number one way. So if you see successful people who are asking them to apply to work for them, like, do that. That's the best way. That's the easiest way. Because you get paid to learn from them, and at the same time, you're building their asset. Now, the second way, you can work with them, right? You can give them money. You can be mentored by them. You can get coached by them. You can take their advice, their system, and you can use it. You can let them be a part of your growth, of your journey. Those are the two ways to get a relationship with successful people. If you just ask somebody for their time, or just, can I pick your brain, they will slap you. Slap you. I told Katie this on Saturday morning. Our flight left Seattle at like 11 o'clock, and we had to be Katie scheduled an Uber at 8:45. And so I got up around 7 o'clock. I went downstairs to that like a little market down there, and I got some breakfast, and I sat in the corner, and I just needed to work for like an hour before we got on the plane. And I was sitting there, and a couple people from the event came by, and they wanted to talk with me for a second. Most of them were very nice and said, "Appreciate you, thank you for sharing your story, good stuff." And then there was this one kid, and he said, "Hey, do you mind if I just pull up a chair and I just sit down and chat with you for a second?" And it was like felt it in my stomach, and I was just like, "No, like, sorry, my friend, I'm working right now. I super appreciate you for showing up today or last night to the event, and thank you." Right? And I told Katie this. I was like, it ate me up because I felt I really did feel bad. Um, but like I would have been pissed off if I would have sat there for an hour and talked to this kid and I didn't get what I wanted to get done. Now, did I have to get what I needed to get done at that moment? Absolutely not. But it was my preference. It was my preference. It's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work, and I found an hour to work before we got on the plane. And the context that he didn't have was that he's like, "Well, why is this guy in public then if he doesn't want someone to talk to him?" The context was I had my freaking wife and kids in the freaking room that I needed to go have a place to go work, and there was no like private place in this entire hotel. So that's the context that he didn't have. That it's like I don't. Preferably, I just would have not been in public, right? That'd have been the best way to do it. But my wife and kids were still sleeping in my hotel room, and there was no like private place in the whole place. So I tried to tuck myself in a corner. But at the end of the day, like I value my work and my time to produce is very much so. And I would have been pissed off if I had told him yes, because then I would not have been able to produce for that hour and some change. And so when we understand that if you just try to ask a successful person for their time, like even if they do, they're gonna resent you. And so you don't want to be the person who squandered an hour with somebody. Because yes, you might get it in that moment, but they will not give you another second of their time ever again, because they will feel this resentment towards you, and they'll be like, no. So if you really want to get someone's time, do two things: work for them or work with them. Okay, those are the two ways. Okay, so if you guys are in clean business, you want to hang out with me, move to Arizona. Move to Arizona because we start more locations. Okay, or you guys can be part of our coaching program, and so James will share the link down below. So those are the two ways, right, that you can work with either Katie or I. Is you can come work for us, or you can, which by the way, you can only work for us if you move to Arizona. You don't get to work for us and live in your silly cold ass state. Okay, it's not happening. You can come down here with shorts on and you can work right next to me. Okay, or you can join the coaching program. You can hang out with the Chris's and the Jocelyn's and the Kaylas and everybody else. It's probably like 30 some people in here who inside the coaching program, and hang out with them. Okay, on the interwebs from your cold ass state. So, with that being said, that was the biggest takeaway from that, was just sharing them where to go to get help, right? And so for you guys are clean business owners, like I would be here. If I were you, I would be inside. I would be right here. I would be listening to Katie and I and the other smart humans inside our community. And if you're not in the cleaning business, like those guys at that event were not in the cleaning business. They were primarily in the landscape business. And so my advice to them was like, this guy over here, the really smart one, really young, smart, handsome guy, has 170 locations. Like, I would join his thing. And the more that I've talked to Mike as well about his franchise, he's got it set up. He actually is very unique. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever like done any research on franchising. And if you haven't, it's totally fine. I'll give you guys the summary of it. But most franchises, when I say most, I mean I've never heard of another franchise outside of Mike's. I'm sure there are others, but most franchises will do what's called a royalty. So you as the franchisee, you will pay an upfront investment cost, whatever that number is. Not important right now. I'll come back to it. But after that upfront investment cost, then you'll pay a monthly cost. And that monthly cost is called a royalty. And a royalty means that you'll pay a percentage of your top line revenue, mind you, top line revenue, and you'll pay that directly to the franchise. Okay? And so typically those franchise royalties will range anywhere from 5 to 8%. Okay. And so what happens is that a franchise gets rewarded the more that the franchisee makes more top line revenue. But how many of you guys make more money, like Jocelyn and Kayla and Sarah? Who else can I see on here? Alyssa and Kristen. Like, do you guys get to eat top line revenue, or do you get to eat profit? Right? What do you get to take home? Okay. And so that's where the incentives are not always aligned for franchises and franchisors. And that's why I personally would never run that royalty model, because I basically would penalize the Jessica and Lucases who went from $13,000 a month to $83,000 a month in this program. Like, they'd be paying me way more money now after they grew their business than they would as if they just stayed small and they worked on getting their profitability up. But they don't. They pay a flat rate, which is like a coaching model. And the more money that they make, good for them, right? And that's why I like coaching. That's what I do with my coaching. It's like a flat rate, like, make more money, right? Make as much money as you want, and you don't pay me any more money, okay? And that's the way Mike has his franchise set up. He's got a flat rate. He's got a flat rate where you come into the franchise, you just pay a flat rate, which doesn't penalize you for growing. And I love that so much. And then the upfront cost, he also has a very low upfront cost, usually about half what the industry average is. Like most, I think he shared numbers in there, but the upfront initial investment for a franchise is about $50,000. Okay, and his franchise, he was only like $25,000, and it actually started out much lower, and now it keeps raising as he gets more and more locations. So, which is very similar to what we do with coaching. Our coaching fees started out very low, and now they go up because the program's just better. Like, you can just get more value, and for the people who got in earlier, they get a better deal, right? However, the people who come in newer, they get to their goal quicker because the information is just better, and there's more credibility, there's more belief in the system. That's all it comes down to. So, like, at the end of the day, like, it really washes out, because the old people, yes, they paid less, but they paid with their time. They were the ones who had to pay with, like, going through a worse system, and now the system gets better and better. So anyway, that was really the value from Seattle, just helping them get clarity on, if you really want to achieve your goals, it's really simple. Just find someone who's done it. And also share the story of me in the gym business. And so some of you guys know my story. Some of you guys maybe don't know my story, but I started in the gym business, and my business, it ate shit for 3 years. For 3 years, I made $135,000 in revenue in 3 years. 3 years. So if you guys want to do math on that, I made $45,000 per year, which is less than $4,000 per month, which is less than $1,000 a week, every single week for 3 freaking years. And my profit on that was gross. I'm not even going to tell you what the profit was. It was gross, right? $1,000 in 3 years of profit. $1,620 to be exact. And it wasn't until I found someone who I just shared with you the framework, someone who had achieved what I wanted in their business, but also had helped other people do it in that same kind of business. I gave that person money, and he gave me his system. My business went from doing $45,000 a year to $50,000 in a month. It was like crazy talk, right? I went from making $0 of profit to making well over 6 figures in profit, right? And so it all happened with a relationship. And that relationship that actually did my first business was the reason I was on that stage on Saturday, because Alex Hormozi, yes, if you guys know who that guy is, he was my coach in the gym business, and he was the one who introduced me to Dr. Kashi, and then Dr. Kashi is the one who introduced me to Mike Andes, right? And that's the only reason I was on that stage, because the decision I actually had made 7 years ago in 2017 to give a stranger from Facebook, who nobody knew at the time. Alex Hormozi was not a name 7 years ago. No one knew who he was, including myself. And I gave that stranger money. But number one, he had done it himself. He had helped others do it as well. I recognized he was very intelligent, and I also just sensed that he wanted to help. He actually wanted to help me. He actually cared. And by the way, he did and still does, right? And so that's a hard combination to find. But if you can find it, utilize it, because you know what? Those opportunities don't stick around for long, because those people continue to grow. They grow and they grow and they grow to a different opportunity. And so most people can't keep up with them, right? And so if you have that opportunity today, take advantage of it, because it's not going to be there forever, right? So whether that's Mike Andes, if you're in the landscape business, or if you're in the cleaning business, do it now. Do it now, right? Okay. So now let's actually talk about how to build $1 million cleaning business, okay? So everything we talked about this weekend, now I'm actually going to make it very, 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 what's the right word, Katie? Just, this is only for cleaning now, right?
Simple. Standardized.
Simple. I'm going to standardize this process. So now if you want to know the formula for growing a $1 million cleaning business, I'm about to show you. Okay, you guys ready for this? You guys ready? What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my vision sheet. So the vision sheet is a tool that was created about 2.5 years ago, and this shows all the data. It shows all the inputs that are required to get the output that we're looking for, which in this case is a $1 million cleaning business. Okay, so if this is the first time that you've seen this, it's okay. It's overwhelming. We've been doing this for 44 straight weeks now, and so if you want to go back and like listen to some of these original Road to a Million Calls, James will drop the link for the podcast. This is the only place that the public can find this. It's on my podcast, and actually the podcast is going out twice a week now. So if you guys aren't following my podcast, you can go do that. And it's going out twice a week on Mondays and Fridays, and it's literally documenting the journey of this second location down here in Mesa, Arizona, where we started with. I'll show you guys here, but you guys go back and listen. We started this location on March 8th, 2024, and you can see here, our very first week, we did one clean. And Katie, what was the revenue on that clean?
$400.
Yes, $400. And who was that client, Katie?
Ryan Overcash.
Ryan Overcash, right? And Ryan Overcash was a referral. It was a guy who actually, who I see in the gym quite a few times, and reach out to him just asking him, hey, like we're starting this cleaning business, and I'm looking for a couple friends who want to start, who would be interested in a discounted clean to help us get this business going in exchange for a review. And he signed up for it, and he was our very first client. And the irony was on Thursday, right before we left for Seattle, I saw him in the gym. And I walked up to him, and I just like, Ryan, like, I don't know if you knew this, but like you were our very first client. And you know what's crazy is that 44 weeks later, our business is going to do $16,500 this week. And his head just was like crazy. Just like, what? And I was like, thank you so much for giving this opportunity in the very beginning to get this thing going, because it's the Ryan Overcashes and every single person in the beginning who took a chance on us when we had 0 reviews, we had 0 credibility, we had 0 clients, we had 0 cleaners outside of Katie who helped to get this thing off the ground. Like everything about this was freaking hard. It was not easy. Nothing was given. We had 0 clients. And 44, I believe. Hold on, I keep doing the math on this. I think it's actually 45. Sorry, 45 weeks later. I'm gonna change this. 45 weeks later, we just did. I wish it was the best, but it's not quite the best. Almost the best. $16,500 last week. Okay, crazy, 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 crazy. Okay. Our recurring client goal is 175. We're currently at 136, and then our total weekly cleans. Last week we had a PR. Okay, what's a PR?
Personal record.
We did 75 cleans in a week. 45 weeks ago, we did 1 clean in a week. That was our best. 45 weeks later, we had 75 cleans in a week. Crazy. And that was a PR. It's the best we've ever done before. Our revenue per clean is about 221, so a little bit lower than our goal, but close enough. Close enough. Number of cleaners, we have 14. Goal is 15, so we're like right in that ballpark. And our cleaners worked on average 23 hours, and we did 328 assigned cleaning hours, which I believe is actually a PR. It looks like 325 was before that, so pretty cool. Pretty cool. Now, let's actually talk about how we got to those numbers. So, ZenMaid is what we use as our CRM. That's what we bill on, and then once we bill, it goes through Stripe, and then Stripe processes the money, does its magical thing, and then all of a sudden Stripe dumps money from the processor into our bank account. And then once it's in our bank account, then our QuickBooks picks it up, and we have our bookkeeper who assigns the expenses to categorize the expenses and then classifies the income as well. Okay? And so you'll see that we have the billed revenue and the received revenue broken up between ZenMaid and QuickBooks. And so in ZenMaid, Katie, how much money have we billed in the last 30 days?
$65,000.
So we billed $65,000. And so the reason we use this last 30 days is just a way for us to get a better idea of what's happened in the last 30 days versus we just base it on monthly. There's certain things that can throw that number off, like holidays, like weekends, things like that. Where if we just use the last 30 days, it gives us a pretty good idea of where we were going. And then Katie actually had a good idea. She's like, we should also do forecasted 30-day revenue. And so that'll be something you guys will probably see on the sheet moving forward, is a last 30 days revenue, but then also a forecasted 30 days ahead. So we can kind of see how those two numbers shake out. But right now, as of January 17th, we have billed almost $40,000 in revenue, which is pretty good. It was about halfway through the month, a little over halfway through the month. And out of that $16,542 in revenue, $6,000 was initial clean revenue, but $10,000 was reoccurring. That's pretty nice. Like reoccurring revenue, Katie, is that what we like to see, or do we hate reoccurring revenue?
We love recurring revenue.
We love it. We love it. Reoccurring revenue is the only thing that makes this business a good investment, right? Recurring revenue is where your profit is. Recurring revenue is where your consistency is. Recurring revenue will also keep cleaners because like those cleans are more predictable. Okay, so the goal is always to build your reoccurring. However, how do you build reoccurring revenue?
You have to serve them one time first.
You got to serve them first, right? They got to start out as initial clean before they can turn into a reoccurring. So that's always a question people ask me is like, can I just turn someone right into a reoccurring? Fine. Do you? We don't do it that way. We always do an initial clean first. We make sure we can perform. We make sure that we like them as a client and they like us. And then we ask them to marry us into the reoccurring rather than like, before we go on a first date, let's just get married. That's like a great idea. Let's try that. So, now let's talk about collected money. So collected monies, we've only collected $50,000. Boo, boo. That doesn't seem very nice. That doesn't seem very nice at all. Maybe you should verify that, Katie. That seems like way low. But if it is, let's just give it a big boo. Come on, everybody in the chat, boo that. If we only collected $50,000, let's give a big boo. And then current monthly revenue too. That seems really low too. Was collected. I think we just looked at the books, Katie. Yeah, thank you guys for booing. I appreciate that. I really do. But Katie, maybe Katie will should be able to turn the boos into I don't know. I'm trying to think of something clever, but I can't. Anyway, maybe she'll be able to turn it for us. Okay, with that being said, we only have $2,700 in outstanding in only 387 greater 7 days, which again, it makes it seem that number seems very off. So that's why I'm hesitant to believe it. So, but Katie is the QuickBooks master, and she'll come save the day here in a second. Okay, so let's talk about discounts. So last week we gave away some discounts. Looks like we have Mark Shanley, always with this military discount. We had a correction clean. Looks like Tina, we gave her $100. We did a correction clean. I don't know if that means that we gave her $100 off, or that's interesting. I don't know. I have to get clarity on that one. 10% discount. So these are all Google review discounts. So anytime we give a 10% off, it's because they did a Google review. So these are some of my favorite discounts. And then this one right here, we ran a $100 voucher. This is something that I'm going to share with you guys tomorrow on, not on tomorrow, on Friday on the coaching call. I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of strategy that we've been using for internal marketing, and it'll be something that will. I guarantee this, and I don't guarantee a lot of things, but I guarantee that I will increase your response, mind you, your response to internal marketing messages. Okay, I can guarantee that. I can't guarantee whether somebody will take the offer. I can't guarantee whether you can fill the offer. I can't guarantee anything else. But what I can guarantee is that it will increase your response to these internal marketing messages. I have a really cool nugget for you guys on Friday, so please show up to the Friday coaching call if you guys are inside the community. So anyway, we got 10 last week, which is crazy. Okay, and yeah, we give $1,000 in discounts, so 1,257 total in discounts. So that is our internal marketing discounts, and now we're talking about our external marketing. So last week we spend money in two primary places: Google Local Services and Facebook ad spend. Okay, and so last week we spent $693 on Google Local Services and Facebook on $1,200. And together we spent $1,900, and our goal is $2,000, so we were right in the ballpark. Last week, holy crap, this is probably one of our best Facebook numbers I've seen. Katie, how many Facebook leads did we get?
109.
Dang. That's pretty good. $11.22. Not bad. Yeah, marketing is going well. It's going well. It's good to see. Facebook Messenger 5, missed call 5, Google Local Services. We got 10 Google Local Service leads, which is pretty good. So you guys can see here, you're like, Facebook is getting $11 a lead and Google is getting $70 a lead. Which one should we give more money to? Which one should we just turn Google Local Services off? We're getting $70 a lead. Should we just turn it off? Come on, put it in the chat. Should we just turn it off? Let's turn it off. Turn it off. No, we actually don't want to turn it off, right? Even though Facebook's performing very, very well, I absolutely hate only having one of anything. One of anything is the scariest thing ever, because one of anything just means that you're just one bad day, one bad moment away from destruction, whatever it is. So like
Except
marketing, if you, what?
Said except for wives, one's just fine.
Except for wives. If you only have one channel and that channel goes away, or here's the reality. Here's what actually happens, guys, because like Facebook's not going to die overnight. But here's what happens, and some of you guys can attest this. You guys can put it in the chat. What if somebody hacks your Facebook and you can't get into your account anymore, and you no longer can get Facebook ads? Then what happens? How many of you guys have that happen? Put in the chat if you have that happen. It's happened inside our community a handful of times, right? It definitely does happen, right? And so having just one of anything is very, very scary. Very, very scary. Okay. And so even though we pay 7 times as much on Google Local Services, I will never turn it off. I will always have at least 2 things going. Always at least 2 things. Now the goal is like, can I find something else that gives us more consistent lead flow at a cheaper lead cost? That would be the goal. But for right now, it's not a constraint. Marketing is not my constraint right now. So as long as I have 2 things going, I'm good. And we got 5 homepage leads. We got 12 incoming call leads. We got 146 leads last week at an average of $13 a lead. So our marketing is not a constraint. So as long as we have 2 things going, we're good. Okay. And we also do a little bit of Facebook group marketing as well. It's called homepage marketing, which is inside the community as well. So I really consider that a third marketing channel that's absolutely free though. It doesn't cost us anything. That's where we get a lot of these homepage leads from. Okay. So again, these are all things. If you guys are inside the community, like you guys know what I'm talking about, but if you're not inside the community, like the reason why we're able to get so many leads is not because we just rely on one thing. Like we take the one thing that is the main thing, but then we try to figure out how do we get as much heat from that thing as we possibly can. Okay. Now, spots open. So last week we had 22 spots unfilled, which is like pretty exciting. 20, like I like 20. 20 is like where I like to be at, which means that we had some room on the schedule. Okay. 36 spots open this week, which means we have room to fill the schedule. Always like having room to fill, which means we actually can grow our revenue. That's always the goal. We want to grow. And so what our office did last week, you guys ready for this? You guys ready for some crazy, crazy, crazy numbers? Okay. And it's funny because Alaya just got on here. And so if you guys don't know who Alaya is the GM for our first location. She is the only reason we're able to do this call right now. She's the only reason, because that girl has her attention, she has her heart on Bozeman. Like, she cares about Bozeman to the same degree that Katie and I do. And any of you guys who have been on her call, so Alaya also does a call. Alaya, I know she's probably coming in here, she's like, this guy's talking about me. Alaya, I'm always talking about you, okay? I'm always talking about you, okay? But if you guys haven't heard Alaya's call, her call is Road to 300K. It happens on Tuesdays inside the community. And the moment that you guys listen to her talk, you will understand very clearly that she cares about Bozeman to the same degree that Katie and I do. Like, girl wants it, okay? Thank you so much, Alaya. Because Alaya gives us the attention. She's given us the ability to put attention on this new location. That's the only reason we've been able to grow this location, is because Katie and I have had the attention. And now, probably since July, I think, is when we hired Keziah and Megan to come into the office. They started out as cleaners, and we brought them into the office. They have been giving us attention back to the point where Mesa doesn't need us anymore. Like, Katie was sharing with, I don't know, who are you talking with when they ask you what you were doing in Mesa, Katie? I can't remember who it was.
I think it was Tyler and Kellen.
Yeah. Yes. One of the kind of business owners in the community was asking Katie, like, what she does in Mesa. And Katie was like, team meetings, I guess. That's really it, right? So it's pretty cool to see like how much Megan and Keziah have taken over the responsibilities of Mesa. And, you know, my role, same thing. I do team meetings, and the only other thing that I also do is I actually coach Megan and Keziah. That's probably the biggest thing I do, and now Emma as well. She's our third office person. So that's probably like the third biggest thing that I do, along with I do one-on-ones with the veteran cleaners. So we have 6 cleaners that I call the vets, and so I still do one-on-ones with them. But outside of that, Megan Kazaya do everything else. And so let's talk about their numbers last week, because they had a crazy week. And so while Katie and I were in Seattle, and while Elia was in Bozeman, Megan Kazaya and Emma, they made 444 phone calls in the office. We had 37 quote calls that were scheduled. We had 30 of those quote calls showed, which is an excellent percentage. And then we performed 71 quotes. That, I believe, is a PR. We performed 71 quotes. So this is my favorite thing to ask. So some of you guys are brand new. You're like, that doesn't make sense. How do you have 30 quote calls show, but 71 performed? Katie, please enlighten the people who might need to know the answer to this question.
Yeah, anybody who opts in, whether or not they schedule an actual phone call for a quote, we call them. And we were able to connect with 41 more people by just calling them.
So this right here, my friends, is the only reason we've been able to grow so fast. The only reason we've been able to grow to over 60,000 a month in our first 10 months is because we do not wait for people to just show up to their scheduled quote calls. We create 40 more appointments, and this is not just a one-time thing. If I were to go back weeks and weeks and weeks, you'll see that every single week we create more opportunities. We create those opportunities by doing this over here, performing outgoing calls. All those 146 leads that come in, every single one of them is getting called multiple times. We call them until they finally answer, so we can finally get a hold of them, and then we are able to give them a quote. And out of those 71 quotes that were performed, how many closed?
47.
In a week! In a week. It's insane. It's insane. That's definitely a PR. That's the most we've ever seen before, right? So both Megan and I both closed 20 apiece, and then Emma closed 3, which was great to see, right? And so $13,000 of projected quote call revenue on the books, which is awesome. So the disappointing number in all that is that we only got 3 conversions from that. So this is definitely the focus is like, how do we convert more of these to recurring, because recurring is the goal. So that is definitely the weakest part of this data. However, it's a solvable problem, and we're going to work on it. We're going to continue to work on it till we're actually crushing this consistently as well. So our conversions are definitely the most inconsistent goal that we are unable to achieve, and so that needs the most work, needs the most attention. But a good ratio. So when it comes to marketing, so most people judge marketing based on cost per lead. So if you're like someone who wants to understand marketing, let me give you a number that will help you be able to identify if your marketing is working well or not. Because the truth of the matter is, it's not cost per lead. I don't care what your cost per lead is. This is the number I look for. How much money did you spend? So Katie, how much money did we spend last week?
$1,900.
And then Katie, how much projected quote call revenue did we have last week?
13,775.
So that's your ratio. So if we do this, watch this. I'm gonna do this on my. Can you see my calculator here? So if we take this 13,775 and then we divide this by $1,900, it's going to give us a ratio of, what's that number say?
7.25.
So you're getting 7 to 1, which means that every single time you put $1 into marketing, you're getting $7 out. Would anyone do that? Would anyone here put $1 into your marketing system if you got $7 out in 7 days? Mind you, that's important too. In the timeline, in 7 days. Would you guys do that? Put it in the chat. Would you put in $1 to get $7 out?
I think I'd sit at that slot machine all day long.
And the most common question I get is, well, that's not all profit. Nya, 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 nya. No shit. I'm just joking with you guys. I was just like, I've got that enough times. But really, if we understand it's not profit, you are correct. You are correct. It's not profit. If we understand that I should say this, if you're 100% removed from your cleaning business, if you're outsourced, 20% is a good margin. You can have a higher margin if you're the one working your business. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you can have a absentee owner at 20%. 20% equals basically every $5 that you make, you get to keep 1. That's what that means. So if we have a 5-to-1 ratio on a marketing, that also includes profit, which means you can actually make money on marketing if you're above 5 to 1. Now, if you can just break even on marketing, that's cool too. Now, if you lose money on marketing, that's okay too if you're converting reoccurring. Does that make sense? So, like, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just like you can make it easier or harder based on how will you convert and also if you can stack reoccurrings. I've seen people be successful just breaking even, like actually like doing 1-to-1 if you can get enough reoccurring on the back end, right? Ideally, though, we shoot for 5-to-1 because that at least breaks even. If you're above that, good job, right? Okay. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Okay. That's how you know if your marketing is working. It's based on what you sell. I can tell if your marketing is working, not just your cost per lead. Don't be an amateur. Amateurs think that way, and it's okay. It's okay if you thought that way, because it took me a very long time to understand that, and that's why we're here today, is I'm helping you be able to do shortcut things instead of you being so excited about a $13 cost per lead, like, yeah, I'm the man, get really excited about a 7-to-1 front end, because that'll keep you in business, and that's the goal. The longer you stay in business, the more lessons you can learn, the smarter you get, the more money you can make, the more money you learn how to keep. And the more money you can keep, you can start to stack that, and you start to multiply money, and that's how you actually get rich, is you learn how to multiply money, okay? Make money first, keep money second, multiply money third. And then, Katie, what's the fourth thing? The fourth thing that everybody wants to do in the beginning, but they got no money to do it.
Buy things?
Make money matter, right? Make money matter. People want to make money matter. Oh, Katie's like, damn it, tried so hard. Okay, that's the sequence.
No, but
okay, make money, keep money, multiply money, make money matter. Okay, so let's move on to cleaner acquisition. So last week, in order to be able to fulfill these claims, you got to have cleaners. Okay, got to have cleaners. And so we spent $364 on marketing. We had 29 applicants to our website. We had 16 phone interviews, 13 performed, only 1 Zoom interview scheduled, 1 performed, and 1 hired. So this is kind of crazy number. We had a huge drop off there. But looks like we have quite a few Zooms today. So maybe that was just a carryover from last week to this week, is what I believe actually happened.
I think we had about 6 or so. That makes way more sense.
We have what? We have how many?
6.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's why these numbers might look a little skewed, is because a lot of those Zooms got pushed to this week. So, cleaner acquisition is pretty sad. In all fairness, this is like very sad. But we have Ashley and Christy. They both started onboarding on Friday, and they're in the field today. So, at least we have somebody in the field. That's exciting. Jennifer no-showed her onboarding, and then Megan, we let her go. Actually, she let herself go. I had a one-on-one with her, as you guys will see down below, and yeah. We just decided that she decided it wasn't a good fit for her, and I agreed. That's really what it came down to. For cleaner fulfillment, yeah, our cleaners, they did good. Like all of them, you can see they're pretty consistent, 27, 28, 28, 29, 26, 29, 27, 25, 29, 17. The only reason Emma is 17, she's the office guy you guys saw her up earlier, so she works 4 hours in the morning, and then she works 4 hours in the afternoon as a cleaner, so that's why her numbers are down to 17 anyway, and then Andre, like... These are our top cleaners, and Sadie as well. And then Trina, I think she actually heard this from one of the cleaners today. She got in a car accident, I guess. I don't know, Katie, if you knew that or not, but...
Yes, I knew that.
Oh, cool. I had no idea. So one of the cleaners brought it up to me. I was like, oh, thanks for telling me that. I had no idea. And then Megan, she was the trainee who we talked about. She worked 4 hours. So as you guys can see, like, our numbers are very consistent. Like, remove Trina from that equation, and then... basically from 23 to 29 hours. That's when everyone worked. So very consistent. We averaged about 328 job ticket hours, 23.4 hours. Again, it's probably a little bit higher if you remove Trina and Megan from the equation. We're probably right at that 25 hour mark, which is pretty good. And then action man rate is $50 an hour. Not bad. Correction clean, Tim. Tim was not happy. Dang it. Sorry, Tim. We'll fix it. And then cleaner fulfillment. I did one-on-one with Megan, which was the one-on-one that she decided it was no longer a fit for her, and I agreed. And Nikki did because I did one-on-one with Nikki last week. So, Katie, did I get confirmation on what our QuickBooks was? Was it correct?
It was not correct.
Oh. Thank you guys for the booze. The booze worked. We booed it and it fixed it. See, we just reinforce people booing because every time you boo, we change the result. Pound it. Thank you guys for booing. Boo. See, we changed the result. Yeah. See, booze worked. And they say complaining can't fix problems. Wrong. Just did it. Complaining worked. So if you guys ever feel like complaining, I just showed an example of it working. Okay, guys? So you guys want to complain and yell and like boo. It works. Facts. Facts. Okay, let's keep going here. So out of the 75 cleans, 21 were new cleans and 54 reoccurring. That is great. 54 reoccurring cleans. Like, that's a good business. I like having a lot of recurring claims. That's a good business. That's a business. That's a business. And the fact that we have some new client claims, though, it means we're a growing business, right? There's the two different instances. We have a business and we have a growing business. I like a business and I like a growing business even more. Okay. What? New Google reviews. We did not get 0. Someone messed this number up.
7 was on our team meeting.
7. All right. New Google reviews 7, recurring clients 136, occasional clients 66, 354 Google reviews. Whoop whoop! Good job, team. Yeah, we hit 350 Google reviews last week, which is pretty exciting, considering we've been in business for 45 weeks. So should we do math on this too? Now I've got this calculator, but let's just keep using the calculator. Let's just keep on doing math. How many of you guys love math? How many of you guys love math? Put it in the chat if you're like, oh, I love math. I'm a math nerd. Yeah. Everybody's like, no. You know what's funny? Me. Like, I was never a math nerd. I was not a math person until I understood how math could make me more money. And once I understood how math could make me more money, then I was all about math, right? Cool. So speaking of math, 354 was the number of reviews we're currently at, and we've been in business for how many weeks, Katie? Did I say 45?
45.
45. So that means we're averaging, if we round up, that's 8 reviews every single week. We're averaging 8 reviews a week, which means we're getting more than one review every single day since we started this location on March 8th. So this system that we're using is a good system. And everybody who's inside the coaching community has access to this system. And anyone who uses it, they seem to get really cool results as well. And so if you want to get more Google reviews, there's a system inside the coaching program that shows you exactly how to do this, right? And getting Google reviews makes the business way more fun to be in and makes it a little bit easier. Client fulfillment. Client fulfillment, we lost 2 clients, Cynthia, and look at Cynthia. I know Cynthia. I sold Cynthia. This was back in May when I was still doing sales. I sold Cynthia. I remember her. And then Lori, she looks like she was only a client for 2 weeks, so she didn't probably do her first recurring. So, and then we got Carolyn, Cindy, and Diane set up for recurring. And then here are canceled claims during the week. So these are the people that canceled, $2,200 in revenue, which again, it's not bad from an actual revenue standpoint. And then from a cancellation time frame, these are the numbers I look at. Is like, did people cancel within the 40-hour window or not? So it's like Cynthia, she did cancel. Looks like she canceled her service too. So maybe that was just like a buy altogether. And then Colleen, and then Stephanie, and then Angie. Those 3 are inside the window, and they didn't get charged. So these will be questions that we ask at our team meeting to discover why we did not charge these people who are canceling last minute. Cool. So back to the original question that we said before is, what is the formula to build a $1 million cleaning business? And the formula, seriously guys, it just lies on this vision sheet. Like, it really does. Like, this vision sheet will tell you everything. It's what makes Katie and I appear to be very smart. Is we just actually figured out what are the inputs required to get the output that we want, which the first output we want is a $1 million business, and the second output we want is we want a 20% profit margin on that, which is about $16-ish thousand a month on 83, right? So, Katie, this is actually something very interesting that happened at the conference. Why not the other way around? Why not shoot for profit first and then grow the revenue?
Yeah, because of the stages of business and growth. I was toying around with some numbers at the event, and every stage, there's 3 different stages of business growth that I decided to define. $0 to $20,000 in top line revenue is the physical stress. You are usually physically still fulfilling cleans. You are usually physically still in the field, teaching cleaners how to clean. It's a very physically demanding phase of the business. 20 to 40, financial stress. You're not in the cleaning field anymore. You're actually making less money. This is the valley of despair. This is usually when people get defeated and or quit. There's not profit there. There's nothing left at the end of the day for you to take home to eat. It's a very, very stressful time in the business. You're actually wearing all of the hats minus cleaning, and you still don't have any money. You're making less money than you did when you were in the field. So most of the time, people either quit, give up, or those that are lucky enough to endure end up in the final stage of stress in the business, and that becomes psychological stress beyond 40,000. So you have to, I would say, get out of that valley of despair as fast as possible, knowing that there is no profit, to be able to eventually create profit. If you create profit on $20,000, let's say it's a 20% profit margin on $20,000, that's $4,000. Where if you create 20% of profit on $100,000, that's $20,000. So it's easier to create more money out of a larger top line number than it is a smaller top line number.
That's like so good. I don't know. You didn't say it that well this weekend. That was really good. So the way that I heard that, I'll summarize it again for people who are sleeping, who are snoozing, who are distracted. So the 0 to 20 is physical stress because you're in the field, you're working your ass off, you're making money, but you're physically exhausted because you also, along with cleaning, you have to do all the other things that was part of a business. And then you're like, okay, I can't continue to do this. Which, by the way, you're right. And then you move to 20 to 40K a month. And then you have the financial stress because now you have to hire cleaners to do the cleaning for you, which is a skill set you never had before. You have to learn how to market for new clients, which you haven't had to do before, and sell these new clients, which you haven't had to do before. And while doing all those new skill sets, you also are making less money because you have to pay out marketing costs for both clients and cleaners, and you have to paying for the cleaning production, which you weren't having to do before. So now you have this financial stress. And if you happen to persist and have the vision to make it to the 40K mark, then you run into the psychological stress of what it takes to actually grow the business from 40,000 to 80,000 a month. The feelings get in the way. The like trying to be fair. The like, what decision do I make here now? Changing the prices. The clients want me to stay. It can only be me who does this. The control freak in me can't give it up. Right? All these things that you have to learn to go from 40 to 80,000.
I had a really good question asked to me after I explained that model that I had created. Tyler Stowers actually asked me, he said, so Bozeman being at $100,000 a month, do you still have the psychological stress? Yes. You will never rid stress when you take on the responsibility of running a company, ever. So this like facade that people put out there, like work-life balance, stress-free life, passive income, do not listen to any of it. There is nothing passive about a 20% profit margin on an absentee-owned business. It is still stressful. Because at the end of the day, if we get sued, if shit happens, it still all comes back to me. So there will always be an underlying level of stress as a business owner. That will never go away.
If you don't want the stress, seriously, like go work for somebody else, and don't be a leader in that company either. Because even with like leaders inside companies, like you still have stress as well. So like you're always gonna have stress. And I think just the expectation that stress is okay, like it's part of the human condition, and it's not a good or bad thing. It's just an is. And sometimes it's just a signal of what needs, like, it's just a feedback signal that can help you recognize maybe to make changes or maybe what's going right. If we just believe that, like, stress is not a good or a bad thing, it just is a thing. Then all of a sudden we don't have a judgment when it happens. And one thing, Katie, to go on side of that too, as we wrap this up here, you will always have stress. You can either have the stress of being broke and trying to just like pay the bills, like worried about groceries, worried about gas, worried about like, do I have enough money this month? Shit, I just got another overdraft fee. There's another $35.
Worried about me problems.
Selfish problems. Selfish problems. poor people problems, or you can have the stress of responsibility of hiring more cleaners, bring on more clients, becoming a better human. Like, that is stressful as well.
Not only am I responsible for feeding my own family now I'm responsible for feeding 20 cleaners' families and ensuring that they get their paychecks deposited in a timely manner.
One of the coolest things that Mike Andes did such a good job of articulating this weekend was how being broke is selfish. How being poor is selfish. Because if you're poor, you're so focused on solving your personal problems or personal problems. Once you actually solve your financial problems, then you have the bandwidth, you have the attention to help others solve their problems. But you have to take care of number one first. And then have the abundance mindset to go get enough money, go get more money so that you can help more people. Because if you don't have enough money that everything that you do in life, you have to charge for it, that's poor. Have so much money that you can do things for free. You don't have to make money from everything that you do. That's abundance. And that I believe is really the value of getting rich, is that you have enough that you guys can give more. That's all. So, speaking of giving, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to get the heck out of here, right? And I got to get on my next call. I got an advisor call with people who have given me money, and I got to go help them out. So, if you're an advisor, I will see you in the next minute. If you're not an advisor and you're inside the coaching program, we'll see you on tomorrow's call. Alaya wrote a 300K call. She's documenting the journey of growing a cleaning business, $300,000 in profit, not top line, profit. Yeah, profit, right? Go to that call. Go get inspired. Go see what's actually possible when you have good systems run by good people. Okay, that's what's actually possible. And if you're not inside the coaching program, come on. Let me help you. James, drop the link. Let us help you. Let us help you grow a business. My gosh. Just trying to give you guys money. You won't let me give you money. All right. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for hopping on here. If you guys were brand new today and this was your first time getting on here, again, thank you guys for showing up. If you're an OG, really appreciate you guys for always being on here from day one. The consistency, the reliability of you guys. It's the only reason these calls can continue, that we continue doing them, because they're valuable and they apparently you guys enjoy them. And you guys help us out so much. And if you want to go back and listen to old calls and you're not inside the community, my podcast, it's 100% for free, Building a $1 Million Cleaning Business. You can Google it on Spotify or Apple. I'm doing 2 releases a week now to try to speed it up. But if you're inside the community, you have access to them all inside the replays. So appreciate you guys so much. Happy Monday, Katie. Thanks for being a rockstar. You look so beautiful today. And we'll see you guys all on the advisor call. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.